Most riders think they know how to ride. They've read the manuals, watched the tutorials, and listened to other bikers brag about their experience. But here's the brutal truth. 99% of them are still making the same mistakes, riding with half the control they could have, and leaving themselves vulnerable to dangers they don't even realize exist. It's not because they're bad riders, it's because no one tells them the real secrets. See, motorcycle riding isn't just about speed, balance, or looking cool on the road. It's about mastering an unspoken set of rules, a hidden code that separates the riders who survive and thrive from the ones who end up in the statistics. And here's the catch. Most of these secrets aren't written in any handbook. They're passed down in whispers, from one elite rider to another. Riders who've learned these truths through near-death experiences, brutal mistakes, and countless hours on the road. The average rider believes skill comes from time, but time alone just makes bad habits permanent. The riders who make it into that top 1%, the ones who seem untouchable, almost supernatural in their control, know that mastery comes from awareness of things the rest of the crowd never even notices. They feel every vibration. They read the road like a map of threats and opportunities, and they manipulate the bike as if it's an extension of their own body. Today, I'm going to drag those secrets into the light. But I'll warn you, once you know them, you can't unknow them. You'll start noticing just how badly most riders are doing it, and you'll never be able to ride the same way again. By the end of this, you'll either become one of the rare riders who dominate the road, or you'll realize you've been riding blind this whole time. Secret 1. Your body is the real suspension. Most riders think suspension is all about their bike's shocks and forks. They tweak settings, upgrade parts, and obsess over technical specs. But here's what 99% never realize. Your body is your primary suspension system, and your bike's mechanics are just the backup. The truth is, the way you shift your weight, the way you absorb impact with your legs, and even how you loosen or tighten your grip determines how smoothly you glide over imperfections. Think about it. When you hit a pothole or bump, your suspension reacts in milliseconds, but your body reacts instantly. If you're stiff, tense, and locked in place, you transfer all that shock directly into your spine, your wrists, and your control. But if you move fluidly, knees slightly bent, elbows soft, core engaged, you're actively helping your bike smooth the ride. This doesn't just make you more comfortable, it keeps your tires in better contact with the road, which means more grip, more control, and fewer close calls. Top riders never fight the bike, they flow with it. They let their legs act like springs and their arms like shock absorbers. And the more you master this, the more your bike feels like it's gliding no matter how rough the road gets. Secret 2. Braking is 70%. Psychology, 30% mechanics. Most riders believe braking is about reaction speed and technique, how hard you squeeze, how you balance front and rear brakes, how much traction you can handle. But here's the truth. Braking starts in your brain, before you even touch the lever. Elite riders don't react to danger, they predict it. They're constantly scanning traffic patterns, reading body language of drivers, noticing subtle shifts like a car's nose dipping before it brakes, or a pedestrian leaning forward before they cross. This psychological awareness means they start easing off the throttle and preparing their braking point before the danger even fully appears. When you master this, your braking becomes smoother, your stopping distances shrink, and you avoid those panic squeezes that lock your wheels. But here's the catch. Most riders never develop this skill because they ride in a reactive state. They only brake when something happens. The top 1% live in a proactive state, braking mentally before their fingers even move. That's how they make split-second maneuvers look effortless. They saw it coming 3 seconds before you did. Secret 3. The throttle is a stability tool, not just a speed tool. Ask an average rider what the throttle does, and they'll say, "It makes you go faster." Technically true, but dangerously incomplete. In reality, throttle control is about stability, especially in corners. When you roll on the throttle in a turn, you're not just adding speed, you're shifting the weight distribution of your bike, tightening your line, and keeping your suspension stable. Closing the throttle mid-corner? That's one of the fastest ways to throw your bike off balance, stand it up, or even low side. The best riders understand that steady, smooth throttle input is like holding a steady breath in a sniper shot. It keeps everything locked in place. They use micro adjustments, not jerks. They accelerate through a curve instead of just before or after it. And because they keep their suspension loaded and stable, they exit corners faster, smoother, and with total control. This is why two riders can take the same curve at the same speed, but one looks like they're floating while the other looks like they're wrestling a wild animal. Throttle mastery isn't about aggression, it's about precision. Secret 4. Your eyes control your bike more than your hands do. Here's something that feels almost supernatural. Your motorcycle follows your eyes. Where you look is where you go. If you're staring at a pothole, you'll hit it. If you focus on the escape route, you'll take it. The subconscious steering inputs you make are all guided by vision. Elite riders don't just look ahead, they scan ahead. Their eyes are constantly sweeping, collecting information, locking onto target points far beyond what the average rider sees. They practice something called deliberate sight placement, deciding exactly where their eyes will be during a maneuver and letting their body and bike naturally follow. It's not magic, it's muscle memory, triggered by vision. But here's the manipulative part. Most riders don't train this. They look where they feel like looking, usually at threats. And by doing that, they steer straight into danger. The top 1% discipline their eyes the way an archer disciplines their aim. They focus only on the line they want to take, and everything else becomes irrelevant noise. Secret 5. The bike doesn't keep you balanced. You keep the bike balanced. Many beginners believe the motorcycle balances itself once you're moving. And yes, gyroscopic forces help, but that's only half the truth. Real balance comes from micro corrections you're constantly making through your body and inputs. You're always adjusting your center of gravity, your lean angle, your countersteering pressure, even your breathing. That's why an experienced rider can stay perfectly stable at crawling speeds, because they're actively managing balance instead of letting physics do all the work. Elite riders have such fine-tuned control over this that they can ride no hands, stand on the pegs, or even maneuver tight turns with surgical precision. It's not a stunt, it's mastery of balance. If you can learn to feel every slight shift and instantly correct it, you stop riding and start wearing the bike like armor. Secret 6. Smooth is always faster than aggressive. The majority of riders equate speed with aggression, hard braking, sharp turns, fast acceleration. But the irony? Aggressive riding is often slower, less controlled, and more dangerous. The top 1% know that smooth is fast. Smoothness keeps your tires in optimal contact with the road. Smoothness prevents wasted motion. Smoothness reduces fatigue, so you can maintain peak performance for hours. Watch a MotoGP champion and you'll notice they almost look boring. No jerks, no sudden movements. Every input flows into the next like liquid. This is why amateurs often can't keep up with pros even when they're trying harder. The pro is doing less, but achieving more. Once you master smoothness, you'll ride faster without even feeling like you're pushing yourself. It's speed without chaos, power without the fight. Secret 7. The road is talking to you. If you learn to listen, every bump, every vibration, every sound from your tires is the road speaking. The difference between the elite and the average rider is that the elite can hear the message. That subtle hum changing pitch, it means your surface grip is shifting. That slight vibration in your bars, a warning that your tire is touching uneven ground. That faint smell of burnt rubber. Somebody up ahead just slammed their brakes. Top riders ride with all senses engaged, not just sight and touch. They listen for wind changes, smell for overheating engines, and feel for micro-textures in the road. By gathering all this sensory data, they ride like chess masters, staying 3 moves ahead. This is the final level of riding mastery, when your awareness expands beyond your bike, beyond yourself, and into the environment itself. That's when you stop just riding on the road and start riding with it. Now you know the 7 secrets that 99% of riders will never hear, and I can almost guarantee you're already thinking about all the times you didn't follow them. Maybe you braked too late. Maybe you stiffened your arms on a bump. Or maybe, just maybe, you were that guy who stared at the pothole and went straight into it like it was magnetic. Here's the truth, most riders will watch this, nod their heads, and then go right back to riding the same way. But the real 1%? They'll take even one of these secrets and start applying it from their very next ride. And here's where it gets fun. I want to know which secret hit you the hardest. Which one made you think, oh, I've been doing that wrong for years? Drop it in the comments.